Football recap and preview time with offensive coordinator Judd Thompson. Let's start with the negative and then move towards the positive. Last Saturday up in Canada, spot the team a 13-point lead, and that ends up being the difference in the ball game. From the offensive side of the football, where do you think you guys were stacking up against Simon Fraser going into that ball game?
I thought we moved the ball consistently. I thought there were times when we had opportunities to close the gap. There were, start of the second half, we had the ball down by 6, shot ourselves in the foot, had a penalty on the kickoff, had a penalty on our first play from scrimmage, a drop pass. It was kind of the theme of the night. We would score kind of when we didn't have to, and then when we really needed a score, really needed a first down, stay on the field, we just couldn't get anything going. So overall, our numbers-wise were okay, but just points and execution was poor.
Execution, you made a switch to go to Kaleo Nawahine, replacing Griff Robles. What do you get from Kaleo, especially in that game that you may have not gotten from Robles over the first 4 games plus?
We always had a plan to go with Kaleo. Basically in every game we had certain packages. It just seemed like in the Simon Fraser game, it felt like we were moving it a little bit better. Griff does a lot of great things, and he's done a lot of great things for us all year. Kaleo just seemed like he kind of had a hot hand against Simon Fraser, and that's why we stuck with him. Your
wide receiver depth has been one of the positives this year. Early in the season it was Zach Fox, and now with teams kind of keying in on him, you're starting to see the emergence of some other guys. Primarily in this game, Randon Willard, who was named our Athlete of the Week, and then touchdown passes thrown to Brock Johnson and Bo Hoskins. Talk about your wide receiver core.
Yeah, it's been nice to have guys that can just step in and play multiple positions. The beginning of the year, I think a lot of them may have been a little confused just because we were asking them to play both inside and outside positions. A guy like Randon Willard really hasn't played football since 2005. Basketball player, came out for football this year and is kind of coming into his own. It was nice to see him kind of explode a little bit, get some balls down the field, make some guys miss. Brock Johnson kind of came out a little bit too. Brock and Bo Hoskins last year were both asked to play a major role as true freshmen, and really right now they should be redshirt freshmen that are just barely starting to get some playing time, but because of the situation they're having to play a lot, and it was nice to see them really step up. And we've really got 9 guys that can step into those positions and be contributors on offense.
Moving towards the positive, you guys got the GNAC leaders in the standings, Central Washington coming in, and most of the games played here in St. George in the series have been quite competitive. What do you expect from both sides of the football going against the GNAC leaders, especially that in total defense? They're pretty stingy on that side of the football.
Yeah, their defense presents a lot of issues. They're very physical up front, have a very tough front 7. They're a little inexperienced in the back end. That's where they've got freshmen and sophomores playing. Their front 7 are very experienced guys. But their young guys have been stepping up. I saw on their website the other day that their freshman corner was the player of the game for the Humboldt State game. So he's obviously experienced enough to get that. But yeah, on defense they're very physical, a lot like Humboldt State. They don't really have to apply blitz packages and stuff like that just because they can get pressure with their front 4. Obviously they do bring some exotic blitzes and stuff like that, but for the most part they're just going to line up and they feel that their guys are better than your guys. And so in games past here, I've been a part of 3 of those home games, and every time for some reason here in St. George we do play them tough. Up there we've always struggled up in Ellensburg. So we're hoping, offensively to, just find some consistency. We're starting Kaleo this week just to see if we can get things going. Griff will play, but Kaleo is going to be our starter. Hopefully get us on the right foot and, get things going, get us a good tempo offensively.
Without giving specifics of the game plan, what should fans expect? Should they expect the same old, or will they see a little wrinkle in the system?
There are a few wrinkles. I'll leave those kind of for our private practices, but there are a few wrinkles. If you come out to the game this week, you will see a major difference in our offense. It's always a thing to get the run game going. We had a lot of drop passes last week, a lot of penalties. Those are things that kill a drive. You go from having a 2nd and 5 to a 2nd and 15 with a holding call, or a 1st and 10 to a 1st and 15 if you have a false start penalty. So we've really been stressing penalties this week, as well as obviously catching the football, making accurate throws. Don't put us in any bigger hole than we sometimes already are in with 2nd and long, 3rd and long, stuff like that. So I thought we've had a great week of practice. I think the focus has been good, coming off a tough loss, a tough road trip up to Simon Fraser. I think that our mental state's been good. I know defense is working hard as they always do, and offensively, we're hoping to come, have some consistency this week that we haven't had in weeks past.
1 o'clock kickoff Saturday at the stadium against the Wildcats. Offensive coordinator Judd Thompson, thanks for the time.
All right, thanks, John.